Yeah, I'm Michael Siminovitch. I'm a professor at the University of California, Davis, and I'm the holder of the Arthur Rosenfeld Chair in Energy Efficiency, which is an endowed chair. And I'm director of the California Lighting Technology Center and the associate director of the Energy Efficiency Institute in California. Yes, actually, this was evolved during my early days in graduate school, and I was exposed to a lighting research program at my School of Architecture at the University of Illinois. And my advisor at the time was one of the country's experts in lighting research and energy. And so as his graduate student, I had the opportunity to be exposed to a wide variety of research, a lot of materials, a lot of new technologies. And so as a young person, it was quite an influential kind of experience to sort of see the opportunities that one could get with lighting and interiors and illumination and the magic of light. And so it really instilled this kind of very early interest in my imagination to go explore in the lighting arena. So very formative in my early days of my graduate education. As an architectural student and studying how the built environment influences people and the kinds of things that an architect would control, I was very fascinated by how profound lighting could be in terms of experience. The quality of space, the color of space, the feeling of space was very much driven by lighting. And I found this to be quite tremendous. As an architect, you were very involved with materials and shape and form. But in this sort of very early exposure to color and to light, I found that there was a completely new dimension to how an architect or a designer could shape space or how to make space look very different. And I was so surprised about how powerful light is as one of the elements on our palette of skills that an architect would have. And so this was just thrilling. And so I think that I immediately became fascinated with the production, the application, and the technology of light as a young designer. So lighting in all of our lives has a tremendous impact, and often we take lighting for granted. It's just something. It's just there. But actually, it's one of the more profound influences on our overall quality of existence. I mean, just day to day, we use lighting for navigating spaces, for walking around home or going to school, or even outside, getting to the car or walking down a pathway. We need light for very basic kinds of survivability, the ability to see objects and to reach and to navigate. So at a very fundamental level, that's the first visibility function. And we all appreciate this. Sometimes we need more light, sometimes we need less light. So that's a very fundamental kind of foundation for light, but I think it goes much deeper. One walks into a space that has got very good lighting design, becomes a very sensitive, very textural and sensuous experience. We know when we're in a very nice restaurant or a very good art gallery or a very nice museum, the quality of how light shapes objects or illuminates objects or paintings can make or break the visual experience of that environment. So at a much higher level, the sensitivity, the color, the directionality of light can have a profound, not immediately well understood influence on how we feel about the space, how comfortable we are in the space, how objects look. And some of this is on a very subliminal level. We don't often articulate clearly, oh, the light is doing this. We just feel it. And so this is a little bit more than just vision. In other words, I can walk across a room because I can see, but now I can feel that this environment is rich and very textural and very exciting. So that's more of an emotional kind of decision. So we've gone from the functional to the emotional engagement. We engage in a space because it's visually exciting. We go into a store and we buy something. The objects, maybe it's a vehicle, or maybe it's furniture, or maybe it's dresses or shirts. becomes a very rich emotional kinds of experience. And then I think thirdly, also very subtle, are the kinds of images, communication, signals that we're getting on a biological level. And this has to do with the spectrum or the color characteristics of light that communicate to us very subtle cues on what time of day is it? Is it evening? Is it night? Is it morning? And this gives us this very subtle kind of engagement with our real world that makes us happier individuals. And so this has to do with our health and our vitality. That's very much driven by the visual cues that we get from light sources. And again, this is on a very subtle, subliminal kind of level. So I call this the wellness layer. So we go from the vision functional, we go to an emotional engagement with the quality of light. And then I think thirdly, we go to this wellness, subtle spectrum, color quality issue. So I think that lighting really spans these three things for all of us. Yeah, I mean, I think that you could look at these three aspects. If you look at a hospital environment or an assisted living environment, if the lighting is not good, people could be tripping or falling. And so at a functional level, incorrect lighting can make life very difficult for people, particularly older people who have visual challenges. They can't see well. Grandparents, they can't navigate their way from the bedroom to the bathroom. And so in this case, where there's poor lighting. So at a very basic level, lighting can be a failure in terms of supporting just basic functionality people can't see. You could have a lot of glare in a school from a windows are letting a lot of sun in or a lot of daylight, and you're getting a lot of glare. This can make students perform poorly or not see well. So here we're looking at disability or reductions in vision. So at a very fundamental level, bad lighting can reduce functionality. At the same time, good lighting can improve vision and functionality. And then at the sort of the second level, the whole emotional experience, if you're having a very fine dinner in a very nice restaurant and the lighting is very soft and it's not glary and it's not in your eyes, you can have a very pleasant experience with your spouse or with friends, and it makes the whole tasting experience of that evening a very sensuous and quality experience. However, the lighting can be very loud and very glary and in your face, and you want to leave the restaurant because it's so bad. And that's sort of the negative, and it can make an emotional experience just unhappy. I don't want to eat in that restaurant. And then lastly, on the health issue, I think that access to really good daylighting that's rich in color can make your environment feel very rich and full color. But if you've got very dim and very white or very bad spectrum lighting, it can make colors appear poorly. It can make you feel not 100%. And sometimes it's very subliminal. Too much light late at night. If you walk into a very brightly illuminated room, at midnight, it's awkward for us because we don't expect that. At nighttime, we want subdued light and reduced light and nice color. But if it's awkward and it's very bright, it's not good for us in the evening. And I think that people sort of subconsciously interpret that as an uncomfortable environment. So I think that there's negatives and positives with all aspects of light, all the way from the functional to the emotional engagement to the health and wellness. So we're seeing a lot of advances in lighting technology that are allowing us to do very different things in terms of how we illuminate a building. At the same time, we're beginning to understand more about how lighting influences us, not just in terms of function and emotional engagement, but in wellness. And lighting is like a food or a drug, and it can be very supportive of our wellness. It can also be very negative at the wrong time. So there's two aspects of this. One is we're learning we're learning more about what to do. And at the same time, we're developing technologies that will enable us to do these new things. Okay? So some examples here. We're learning that light throughout the day should naturally vary, very similar to what we experience outside. And so our biology has evolved over a very long period of time due to exposure to the natural cycles of daylight. So in the morning, it's dark, but we go through amber, red, orange, white, blue, and it becomes very bright. And then it's very bright all day. And then towards the evening, sun starts setting and it goes to be red, orange, and then very little light at night. So this kind of diurnal cycle that we see, our basic biology has evolved under that. So the closer our lighting is to what happens outside in the natural environment, the happier our biology is. And so now we're understanding that that's, it seems very intuitively obvious that sure, we should be doing that. But it's only been recently that we've understood that, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, that we should do what was happening outside. And so there's two ways to do that. One is we can shape our buildings to illuminate it with the natural light that we have. Let the daylight in. Don't use artificial or electric lighting. Use daylight to light our buildings, okay? Now that's not always easy to do for lots of different reasons. And also at nighttime, we need light for functionality, but we need the right type of light. So with the new technology of light sources, and this is basically solid state lighting, electronic lighting, we've moved away from incandescent or fluorescent light sources to these electronic light sources that allow us to do two important things. One, allow us to give very different colors or different spectral distributions, and also allow us to change the intensity very easily. So we have these two dimensions, both color and intensity, that we can change very easily with this new technology. So now with this understanding that we need this kind of natural variability in our places where we work, where we live, where we recreate, we now have the technology that we can match that. We can change the intensity very easily, and we can change the color characteristics to match both our desires, but also the kinds of expectations we want from daylight. So we can basically recreate the daylight kinds of conditions inside our homes. We can make homes safer. We can make them appear better looking. We can make it more healthful for us because we're not producing a lot of extra light that's going to suppress our melatonin. So I see these things coming together. Improved understanding of what we should have with now an ability to actually produce what we can do. And so I see big things happening in the future that our places of work, play, health, home are all going to start using this new type of lighting that will allow us to have better functional environments, certainly better emotional environments because we'll have broader color. And in terms of health and wellness, lighting that more closely replicates the natural variability of daylight throughout the day so that our biology is happy. We don't want a lot of light at night, and we want the right kind of spectrum at night. But during the day, we want bright light with lots of spectrum. Now we can do it. And so the last portion on this is that we have an understanding of what we should do. We have a capability of doing it. Now we need to promulgate it through education. And I think it's really important that we engage with the educational community, the students who are studying interior design, architectural design, and also the professionals out there, the architects, the engineers that shape our buildings. They need to have this knowledge in order to start reshaping our future environments. So I see this as very exciting. It's going to be very transformative in terms of our future architecture and interiors. And it's certainly a very exciting time. And I'm really looking forward to sort of seeing this kind of eclipse where we really change our interior environments. Yes, no, absolutely. And so I always look at, what can the homeowner do now, or the person with a small business? And certainly we're looking at this new revolution in lighting, and it involves a lot of architectural training and a lot of expense and new technology. And that's certainly happening. But often the question is, what can we do now? What can the homeowner do, or the small business owner? And so I always look at this as a good, better, best kind of opportunity. There's good things you can do very, very simply. There's better things a little bit more expensive. And if you want to spend a lot of money, you can spend a lot of money. So let's start with the very simple kinds of things. Okay? So for the homeowner, and they want to improve the lighting inside their home, they really should be looking at using light sources that have really good color, that have good spectrum. And these are not always easily available, but you can find them. And the idea is that you want lamps, the screw-in lamps that you can buy, to have a very rich color. You want a broad spectrum. You have to search a little bit, but they cost a little bit more money, but they're broadly available. And you want to use those in your home so that when you're cooking or you're working with fruits and vegetables or meat, you want the food to look good. Also the furniture, also people. And so you want to use a broad spectrum light source. I think also you want the ability to control. You want to be able to dim, okay? So anytime you can use simple dimming systems, and these are very inexpensive. It can be retrofitted to any kind of table lamp or porch light or interior light. You want to make sure that you put as many things on dimming controls as possible. Particularly if you're designing your new home or you're doing a major upgrade, you want dimming controls. They can be slide dimmers, they can be rotating dimmers, but everybody appreciates dimming. It allows you to tune your environment. It allows you to shape your environment so that you are happy, okay? And dimming also allows you to reduce the amount of light, which is usually not good for us at nighttime. So you want to quieten down the lighting. So you want to use kind of dimming controls. I think also, I would say my third suggestion for sort of a good, better, best approach would be to use light sources in the home that are warmer in color. Warmer in color. Warmer is better for us than the blue, bright, white lighting. And I think that there's a little bit of preference issues there, but I think once people start using warmer lighting, they will be happier with it. It's sort of like candlelight. Warmer lighting is just better for us. I think reducing glare, sources that are too bright and not shielded, we want to also watch out for that. I think that everybody's concerned about energy and using excessive amount of light in the home or in the business. So the combination of dimmers, scheduling, timers, switches that automatically turn off, these are all good, things that you can put into the home to make it more energy savings. Okay? But basically, there's technology available today for a relatively low cost. You can make your home quite comfortable, and it's all about choosing the right light sources. At the end of the day, the homeowner, they need to educate themselves a little bit. They just can't buy whatever's in the store. They need to first educate, look at what's available, and make an informed decision. When you buy a car or you buy a new suit, you always make an informed decision. And so buying a light bulb is not like buying a piece of fruit. You need to go and research it a little bit. So there's a lot of information out there. Homeowners should educate themselves a little bit. I would say that there's a lot of knowledge out there on lighting, and I think that historically we've taken for granted lighting. It's just we accept it, just like when you turn on the tap, water comes out, water's okay. Well, the lighting is not okay, and consumers need to be much more prudent and thoughtful in their decision making in terms of what they put into their home, how they design their home, how businesses supply lighting, because very good lighting will make you happier and more healthful. So it's worth doing the research.